Alright. What's up, guys? I'm back with a new series. This is gonna be What if Deku had Venom, say. And I know it's been done like multiple times, but they all make Deku really cheerful, and I ain't having that. Venom's supposed to be out for revenge. He's supposed to be out for cold blood, but yeah, I don't know. Let's just see how this story turns out, and if it's good, then it's good. But yeah, let's just get right into it. I'm gonna say Deku is nothing like his personality in canon. And what I mean by that is, as a kid, he was like the same, but later as he grew up and was told he had no quirk, he couldn't believe it was real. And after he learned he didn't have a quirk, he was hoping like Inko could give him hope, like in the main story. But she only said she was sorry, and Deku couldn't keep himself motivated like in canon, and took the fact that he was quirkless, but still had like a faint drop of hope left that he could be a hero. And, I'm gonna say hearing everyone bullying him was making it worse as well. So other students started, like, they always tried to fight him all the time, whether it be like from a strong quirks, like ganging up on him, or just normal people ganging up on him. Like, there was just no win. And I'm gonna say by middle school, he gave up on emotions. Like, not fully, but yeah, he basically gave up on emotions and only had hatred for those who didn't deserve their quirks, like, who were like really cocky and all that. And I think I'm gonna say Inko blames herself every day, thinking back to her not motivating Deku, and tries to cheer him up every single day, but knows it's not working. So she's like going through like a wreck and all that. But I'm gonna say Deku hated Bakugo the most still. Like, Bakugo was still the same. And Deku was more depressed and was basically losing sight of his dream of being the number one hero, because like everything's just going wrong with everything. Deku, I'm gonna say though, like, Deku, still having his little faith left, decided to sign up for UA. And when the teacher, yeah, I might as well just get into it. The teacher went over the papers, everyone laughed, and like when they heard Deku's name pop up after Bakio, and I'm say Deku wasn't having it and glared at everyone with his dim, faded, like, green eyes. Like, they're not as bright as they were in canon. They were just faded. Like, he was not having it. I would say Deku was actually more built in the story, mainly because it was the only way he could like fight back other people using their quirks. Because he does not care. Like, he's like, nah, if I'm gonna fight, I'm gonna go down fighting. But yeah, when Deku like glares at everyone, they all shut up, and Bakugo told Deku, like, they all shut up because they were like, oh shoot, like, he can put up a decent fight if we're not like paying attention. But Bakugo told Deku that there was no way he could get into UA, even if like a miracle happened. So, just that. And he continues by saying Deku's in like the main star, but like Deku's the main star for Satan's puppet show, basically. Like, yo, his life is just trash. Like, he's just a puppet show for Satan. Like, this is for the devil. Okay, nah, that's not something to laugh about, but the class ends, and Bakugo goes to Deku's desk, exploding it, and tells Deku to never even try to go to the exams or he will kill him. And Deku stares at him, like, stares at Bakugo with a blank expression, and walks out the class. Like, yo, he does not care anymore. Like, he's just like, screw you, bro. It's either we fight now or nothing. Like, there's no other option. So everyone leaves, and Deku goes through the shortcut like normal. And the sludge villain shows up and yells at Deku to stay still. But Deku turns around and dodges the attack. And I'm gonna say the sludge assumes after that, like, Deku has a reflex quirk and attacks again, splitting himself up, and surrounds Deku like at all corners. So, as soon as Deku sees that, he realizes he can't get out of the situation. Like he's in and gets captured. I'm gonna say Deku struggles trying to get it free, but then he accepts that it was either way, like, it was either this way or the other way, and stops struggling. Which is, if you know what I mean by that, like, then you know Deku's mindset right now. Like, it's down the gutter. But all my comes around the corner and punches a sludge away, yelling his Texas smash and all that. But Deku didn't pass out in this one and was breathing heavily like when he was freed. And I'm gonna say All Might grabs all the sludge and puts it in his water bottles, like in canon, asking if Deku was okay. Ooh, I'm sorry. Deku after catching his breath, he looks up and sees like that it's All Might. And after he sees All Might, he like his eyes they slightly become like a brighter green because like like this is All Might, like this is his chance. So Deku without hesitation asks him if he can be a hero without a quirk. And I'm gonna say All Might pauses, looking at Deku's body like built, like and sees that he isn't someone to push around with in a fight, but like even with All Might taking that in consideration, he sighs and tells Deku he can't be a hero without a quirk, and he'll probably be killed trying to be one. So All Might says he's sorry afterwards and takes off. So Deku doesn't grab on because he already had his answers like answered and all that. But Deku stands with his eyes turning back to a dimmed and faded green. Like that was his last hope. Like that he had, and now he sees that there's no way like his one and only dream could be a reality and all that. So there wasn't the little attack with Bakio and all that because since Deku didn't grab on, All Might successfully like delivered him to the police station. And I'm gonna say Deku after like having his dreams like basically crushed in front of him, Deku goes to the forest like to a forest nearby where he works out most of the time, but this time only sits on a boulder throwing rocks at a tree. And I'm gonna say Deku doesn't know what to do anymore and is in like the worst state he's ever been in. Like he isn't showing any emotions, like only a blank expression in like his hood over his head. And he looks up at the sky and then it starts raining, which is like, that's even worse. Like that's just it's like basically God just saying like, oh yeah, your life sucks and all that. But Deku stays in the same spot for 2 hours in the rain. So I'm gonna say it's 3 p.m. and his phone is ringing like every 5 seconds with missed calls from his mom. There's 211 missed calls, there's 211 voicemails, and there's 309 texts so far. And they just keep on going up. 7 hours later, it's 10 p.m. and it's dark and freezing out with still rain coming down. But Deku's phone is dead, and he's still in the same spot with the same position and the same expression. A blank, tired, angry, and sad expression. So it's just, like this is bad. Like it's Deku. I'm gonna just say like Deku decides to go home to his mom. Like he doesn't know what she'll do if like he doesn't show up. So he gets up and feels his backpack feel heavier a bit, but he doesn't think much of it and continues to go home. He finally makes it and walks in through the door. So when he walks in, he hears his mom crying in the other room and sees the whole house is a mess with most decorations destroyed. So Deku keeps walking and sees his mom on the floor with the phone and her hands over her face. So Deku goes over to her and hugs her like really tight. And Inko takes her hand off her face and instantly knows that it's Deku. So she starts crying even more and is screaming at Deku like that she was so scared and like she didn't know what to do if she didn't see him again. So like that's rough, man. But Deku kept saying he was sorry, and 2 hours later of them talking, they go to bed. So it's 12 a.m. And Deku is drained, like, and brutally beaten mentally, like, wondering what he will do now. Because, like, All Might, his main, like, the person he looks up to just said, nah, you can't be a hero. There's no way. So 3 hours later, and it's 3 a.m. Deku wakes up to see something come out of his book bag. It looks like dark sludge. So Deku tries to get out of bed, but feels it grip onto his body, and he's freaking out right now. But Deku, like, he can't speak, he can't move, he can't do nothing. It's like sleep paralysis, but like it's real. So he feels it crawling all over his body and then fusing in through his skin and passes out. So Deku wakes up in the morning and looks around his room drenched in sweat. And I'm gonna say Inka was at work, so Deku was alone, and she would have called off, but they're like really, really behind on rent and bills. Like it's not even funny. Like they're so like they're in the worst spot possible. And Deku shrugged it off. No, no, he knows something up, like something's up, and he takes a shower thinking like it was a nightmare, like hoping it was. And after he gets dressed, he looks at his phone, and in the reflection, he sees his face, but with big white eyes, with like no pupil and black veins. So you know what that is. That's Venom. And Deku blinks and it goes away. So he thinks that he's going crazy mentally because of what happened yesterday. So he puts his hood over his head and started to walk it to the woods again because I'm gonna say it's the weekend, so there's no school. And when he gets there, he gets ready to work out, but he then hears a voice saying, "Hello, Izuku," and it's like really like menacing, like it's from the movie basically. And Deku looked around like he didn't care and just said to come out, like he's ready to fight. And the voice said, like, oh wait, I just spaced out. I'm sorry. The voice said like it's all right, and told Deku to look over his shoulder. I'm gonna say Deku looked over his shoulder and seen Venom's head appear. I'm gonna say he got startled and jumped a bit, but Venom said it was okay and says that he's his new host. Like Deku's his new host. And Deku questioned it, really not caring at all for what's happening. And Venom explained how he's a parasite from like a different planet and needed a new host or he would have or he would die until he found Deku though, so he won't. Basically going over his backstory and all that. And Deku says he doesn't care anymore if he's a pawn or not and starts to do push-ups. So Venom goes back into Deku and decides to look through his memories because he hasn't he hasn't like tried to see who Deku is. So after he finishes, Venom just asks Deku like how is he still standing? And Deku responds by saying like what? Like he's questioning like what do you mean? And Venom says that he's had a terrible life. So Deku continuing his push-ups nodded his head. And Venom says that he can solve Deku's problem with having no way to make his dreams come true. And that's when Deku stops his push-ups and stands up asking like what does he mean? And Venom said that he had powers and abilities that the host can use to protect itself. And by the end of the explanation, Venom told Deku all of his abilities. I'm gonna say, his powers are super strength, regeneration, shape shifting, to an extent. Nah, screw it, he's God. Nah, okay, but creating weapons with like the black slime, heightened sensory perception, and hmm, he can depart a small amount to someone else, like making Deku control their fate. And Venom does still have his like what is it? Weakness with sound and heat. So they're still there. And Deku starts to ask Venom like why him? Like why did he get chosen? And Venom says that it's just the perfect match, so there's no need to look for another host. And he continues by saying it must have been fate that he matched with like him so perfectly. And Deku stands and thinks about what Venom said and grew like a terrifying smirk and slowly started laughing. Which that's kind of the main thing about the story that I want to do. But I'll just get into it later. At first, Venom didn't know why Deku was laughing, but remembered about All Might in his memories. And Deku stops getting, like, Deku stops, getting serious again. And says that he will prove everyone wrong. And the school week starts up again, and Deku walks in the school. So everyone is looking at Deku, and they see that he has like his hood over his head looking down, but notice he's also like hiding a small smirk. And some students try to walk up to Deku, getting ready to mess with him, as like usual, and they surround Deku and tell him to pay up or fight. And Deku's never chosen the pay up offer because he ain't having it. So Deku looks up and they see him with his evil smirk. And they get chills down their spine and the leader punches the locker next to him, asking the question again. So Deku answers by getting a serious expression and they see black tentacles come out of Deku's jacket. So they jump back and start using their quirks, and everyone in the hallway is watching now, and they see the tentacles reach out and nearly kill the entire group in seconds. So Deku walks off, walking in the pile of blood while licking his lips and smiling. So, like Deku had no chill, bro. Like, okay, no, I need to stop. But he really did have no chill. But when he gets to class, the intercom says for, Izuku Midoriya to come to the office. And when he walks out, he goes to the principal's office. And when he sits down, the principal asks, like, if he beat up all those students nearly to death. But Deku says there's no way that he can do it. He can do that because isn't he, like, just a kid with no quirk? And there also wasn't any camera evidence that Deku beat them up, and no one would believe like he just magically got a quirk. I'm gonna say like because like the way that there was no camera evidence is because Deku told Venom to destroy the cameras during the fight, or no, like before it. So it doesn't look like he did it, but the principal says that he doesn't see Deku taking on all of them at once and sends Deku back to class. Like, kind of like he's trying to be nice about it, but he just can't see a quirkless kid going against all these like people who have quirks. And I'm gonna say Venom says in Deku's head that he's just a really good liar. And Deku laughs, saying that it's just too easy and like, testing his theory. Like bro, Deku is like unreasonably like smart in this one. And the day ends like he was just testing his theory about like out trying to see if anybody would understand like he has a quirk, but the day ends and no one would believe the witnesses that seen Deku beat up the group of students. And I think I'm gonna leave it off there. I don't know, I just feel like I had to upload and I already had this like story planned out, so I might as well. I had to get a drink, but yeah. So, um, let me know what you guys think about it. I try to make it different from all the other ones, but yeah. So let me know what you guys think about it. If you guys didn't like it, let me know why. And remember, don't be Nita. And I guess I might as well just end it. So, peace out.